I know. Well, hey, welcome to Every Day's a Bonus. I'm Kennkington, your host today. And my very funny, one of my favorite people, Brent MOXEY, is with us here today. Say hello, MOXEY.
Hello, Brent and MOXEY.
Awesome.
We're not ranking your favorite people.
No.
You said favorite. Is there a ranking of people?
Not on the show. We'll talk about it at lunch.
Okay, top three on the show.
Maybe between. Here. And then Logan. Logan, our newest personality, is now a seasoned veteran of Every Day's a Bonus and rocking right along. That was my tongue twister for the morning.
How are you? Right along. That's a tough one.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I enjoyed your slate. You almost hit your own face. I enjoyed how you dodged that.
Yes.
That was my highlight of this episode.
There you go.
You don't even need to watch the rest.
We're not even very far
moment.
into this episode.
I know. And before we slated, we were talking about just earlobes, and I think
I'm clearly not one of his favorite people. He didn't say my last name or that I was one of his
Weber.
It was brutal.
Well,
Logan asked us if we had touched our earlobes.
Yeah.
Something about that. And I realized I have not touched my earlobes in, I don't know, years?
Well, Mallory has one of those little razors that she... You know,
okay, you're so in trouble for even mentioning that.
Say it. Say what you said off air.
I'm already showing it. You know that she shaves her little Cuban mustache with, and because she's Cuban, and she shaved my earlobes the other day, and they feel amazing. So, fun fact.
Wow.
So we started talking about other things we haven't.
They have cool ways that they hold hands with their wives, and they think they're amazing. My wife shaves my earlobes, so.
I'm going to have to go with
marriage.
Hey, love looks different amongst different people. Yeah. So it's really good. Earlobes is always good. Some of us have gotten back from some vacations. We've been off places.
Not me.
We did a little cruise.
Where did you cruise to, though?
Yeah. We went to the Caribbean on the Carnival Mardi Gras ship.
I always thought it was the Caribbean.
Wow. Oh, Pirates of the Caribbean, but you go to the Caribbean.
That's a confusing one.
Again, it's those words again we've talked about before where they don't make sense. But while we were gone, we noticed the Masters happened. I noticed you have your little Masters sweatshirt on, which I assume this means you went to the Masters this year.
I've been to 2 practice rounds, but my son actually works for the hospitality company that does all the peripheral events.
Oh,
and they're the official hospitality of the Masters. So they get all the swag, and I had lunch with him, and he's like, "Dad, I got you quarters." So this one I will not be washing and signing and sending to anybody.
Oh, that's so bad. So cheap of you.
More T-shirts and got some great T-shirts in the coming episodes, but this is not one of them. Have you been to the Masters?
Never been to the Masters. We have a flag from it. A coworker of mine, Hayden, he just went, and my son Jagger asked for a flag. And so he got that. So I think it was the pimento sandwiches are still $1.50, and a flag and a hat are $180, right? So it's kind of like things.
They know how to make their money.
Oh, they do.
I mean, this logo. If you see somebody with this logo, this came from Augusta.
Yeah,
I mean, they do not sell it any other time of the year.
I love California this time of year. No.
How did that? What did it just happen?
I don't know. Just for the people that don't know where Augusta is,
I was with it. I was with it.
Thank you, Logan.
Yeah.
It's also the capital of Maine, but this is where
Maine.
This is where the Masters is, and there's some really. I think so.
In Maine,
I don't remember that learning
Augusta,
the
Maine?
50 states capitals, but those didn't stick. So
tell us all 50 of the state capitals, Logan.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta.
Oh, was it always Atlanta?
Atlanta.
I don't even know.
No, right? It wasn't always Atlanta.
No, I think it was somewhere in the middle Georgia.
Wasn't Savannah in there somewhere?
Probably at the beginning of the colonies.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth,
and Savannah
was the capital of Georgia.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. You're in the middle.
But no, have you been to the Masters?
Yes. I spent $500 in about 8 minutes in that store. That was amazing. That was horrifying. But you get caught up in the chaos of it, and it's amazing. I made a fool of myself on number 9 green. It was practice round.
Why were you on the green?
I was near 9 green.
That might be why you were the fool.
Get off the green.
I haven't been back since. No, but it was the Monday practice round. So they were, guys were hitting several shots in, practicing different approach shots, and one of them hit one long, and it went into the crowd, and everyone's yelling 4. And so I'm ready. And the next one, it's in the air, and I see it, and I'm like, oh, that's going to land at my feet. And I'm like 20 yards behind the green. So I'm yelling at Augusta National 4. I'm yelling it.
You're yelling 4.
Yes.
And you have your baseball mitt up? Is that a different sport?
And it landed on the green. Confused. And everyone looked at me like I was the biggest doofus yelling 4 at Augusta National
only
for a ball
because
that landed on the green.
in that situation you were.
Yeah. Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah,
That's
I play
funny.
golf my whole life. And it fooled me.
That is fun. And it's hard.
Oh my God.
And it's hard to get into the Masters, right? There's a lottery system. We've tried to get in,
difficult.
haven't yet.
Yeah.
Unless you want to get us into it next year. But you then once you make it in and you're grandfathered into, I mean, there's a lot of older folks that are grandfathered in and they get tickets for the rest of their life, right? I don't know if
somebody has to
transfers.
die. You can't pass it down in a will, but
Okay.
You used to be able to, but I think
there's
they got
a
rid of that.
massive list to do
crazy.
that. Now the crazy part, one of the cool crazy parts is that it is like no other. Bobby Jones, a famous golfer, he said, "Hey, I want to create the ultimate spectator event." And I'm telling you, it comes really close to that, if not, because it's just like all the grandstands you see at the Masters. There's no corporate sponsors.
Yeah.
Anybody can sit in the grandstands.
No digital boards.
I love
No
the
digital board.
simplicity, right? They're still keeping it very, very old school. They've got, hence the price of a sandwich, right? And the no phones, no yelling.
Well,
no
Bobby
running.
Jones was ahead of his time with the no phones. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He never used his phone once. It's amazing.
He nailed that one.
He did. Kept
They
his
are
phone in his pocket.
insanely intense about that. I don't know if you've heard the rules, but basically no phones. They're like, don't put them in your pocket. Don't bring them in. If you are caught with a phone, you are escorted off the course. Your badge is taken, and whoever had the badge no longer gets to have
Your
that
ass
badge.
communicated.
Wow.
You are
You're kicked
literally
off
From
the island.
golf church.
You have been
But
eliminated.
it's such a
Yeah.
cathedral. I mean, everything is perfect, and even like the trash on. If somebody were to drop one of the green wrappers to blend with the grass, they've got people constantly walking up and down to pick
They give
stuff
Disney
up.
a run for their money.
That is amazing.
it's
we were
unreal.
on that cruise, said a week and a half ago or so for spring break. It was Jagger and about a few of his buddies. There was 5 of him, and we went with all the families for kind of their senior year. And so cruise ship is really, really cool. But that's when we first noticed, wow, on this ship, there is, you're not just texting each other. You're not just, you didn't really have access to your phone. Now there was like a little data package you could have, or there was a way you could get into their app to message everybody. But for the most part, when you're out and about, good luck finding everybody. But
in the middle of the Gulf.
right.
Mex-America.
But I gotta say, there was, what was that? Gulf of what?
Mex-America.
Mex-America. One of the two, wherever it splits from America to Mexico. But it was almost a little bit free sometimes, right? Like I'm walking out of the cabin, Kirsten and I are going to go meet some folks up on the pool deck. And it's like, wow, we can just walk there. I mean, the biggest thing you're doing is like, do I have my sunglasses and my little sail and sign card, to get back into the room or something like that. But it reminded me of years ago, my kids were both involved in Young Life. You guys ever heard of Young Life?
I've heard of it.
So when I was in high school,
So it's
Young
like
Life,
a camp and stuff.
it's
Weekly
like a
meetings, but they have
weekly
camps.
gathering.
Yep.
That's outside of like the church. So, at our church, we will have middle school and high school ministry, right? Young Life exists more to be outside as like a parachurch kind of ministry where they're welcoming in people that wouldn't even dawn the doorsteps of a church, right?
Gotcha.
Right.
So they just want to welcome everybody in, make everybody feel welcome. Sometimes they'll play like secular songs just to let everybody feel comfortable, but there's always some type of game, spiritual message. It might branch off into small groups throughout the week. And my son at like 7 a.m. on a Thursday will go to Bible study with he and some of his buddies at a Dunkin'. And so it's
That's
just
a miracle.
Cool. All right, it is a miracle, right? And he doesn't bring me to like a donut every week. But one of the interesting things about the camps that they do over, it might be a break, might be a spring break, or it might be the summer camp, whatever it is, they are a no cell phones policy. Wow. So much like the Masters there is no cell phones that you take with you. Now,
so what was the effect? Going to the camp when your kids heard you cannot bring a cell phone? Did they freak out? Yeah. Where was the freak out?
Okay, I think our kids freaked out a bit. As parents, I think we freaked out more. Yeah. Like we've only known our kids while cell phones have been in existence, right?
Wow.
And so here we are, they're telling us, hey, we're driving a few states away on a bus in a very cold temperature. There could be ice, and it's like, by the way, you won't be able to communicate with them at all. At some point halfway into the trip, we'll take their phones, Ziploc bag, put them away, and they won't get them until they're coming back. So we're kind of like, what is happening here?
You do the Life 360 thing, all of that.
The Life 360 is about to, it's about to be off because they turn their phones off.
Yeah.
And
do phones have an off button now? I thought they eliminated that.
I think it's a Control Alt Delete.
Yeah, you have to hit like 17 things and off. Throw it in the air and eventually it turns off.
And cross your eyes.
Yeah.
Pause on that because we just turned it off. But you were saying beforehand, you've been at events and made a comment. This is a corporate event.
Yes.
Tell about that comment of turning them off.
Well, just talking about the addictive nature of our phones and how much of our time they consume, and just challenging people like, hey, maybe a weekend or a week for a young life camp without your phone seems insane. But like, have you ever gone like an hour? Like, when's the last time you went to Kroger without your phone? And people in the room will audibly gasp. What if something happens?
Yeah. What if something happens?
Guess what? Things will happen. Life will continue.
Yeah. What if?
What if?
Isn't that crazy?
Most things that happen, you having your phone you're not going to be able to do anything anyways.
Right. I'll take a picture of it.
Yeah. And then you have 600 pictures of your food from dinner. From what do I need this? Why is
that? But that's one of the fears.
Like
what if something happens?
Yeah. Yeah. What if something happens?
Does that relate to the parents piece?
Yeah. Okay. So as we're
nobody there will notify us for a week if my child dies.
We're like, what do we do? How do we? And the more that went along, we're like, I wonder what they're doing right now. Our daughter went first, and a few years later, our son started going, and so we were used to it. By the time he got there,
they both lived.
They did.
They made it.
Yeah, much as Jesus is still alive, our kids are still alive.
Yes.
So I'm going to fast forward to the end. We pick them up. We're like, you got to tell us, how was it without a phone? And their answer was, awesome.
No way.
They're like, I hate that we have to get back on phones because, everybody's got them here. Now it's like, if you're not back on your phone, you're not hearing meet here, go here, do this here, check this out, right? You feel like you're out of it for some reason because everybody has phones. But the second that everybody they were with on this trip, all 100 people, put their phones away, they were like, we don't have to have our hair all fixed up. You don't have to worry that somebody's catching you in a bad moment, or you don't have to take a picture of, or fear that you're missing out on. Right now, it's such like fear that you're missing out on something. You see everybody's best. Yes. You see everybody's highlight reel. And then you're sitting here just looking at your everyday life. Kirsten has a little plaque in our kitchen, and it's like celebrate the normal, the everyday normal, or something like that. It's like,
it means a lot to you. I can tell.
There's this plaque I'll never forget. It says, celebrate the normal, celebrate how awesome my wife is. My husband.
There it is. There it is.
Something like that. But anyway, it reminds you, celebrate just how an average day is something to celebrate, right? Because sometimes an average day is still a blessing. It's every day's a bonus.
It's a bonus.
And so, but you put that phone away and you're like, oh, how nice is that? But they celebrated that and they're like, oh, but it doesn't take long to get right back. And you're like, right back on your phone and all that. So I love what you just said. Like, imagine just an hour a day.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a week. I've not gone a week. I'm going to be honest without
Me neither.
I've not done it.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of that.
Yeah.
Now I wonder how many people that are watching or listening right now going, that's not possible.
Yeah. How can
you're going to get lost.
It totally is.
Has to be.
People lived lifetimes without a phone.
We allegedly, maybe we did, maybe we didn't, but rumor is we went to the moon before phones.
That's controversial right now.
Controversial right now. So, I could have thought of a better example, but that's where my brain went.
You just split our audience in half.
Oh, yeah. I hope the comment section blows up over moon landing theories. Just dive in, tear each other to shreds lovingly.
Which is your favorite president? Are you Democrat or Republican? Comment below. Let's do everything. List it all out.
Paper or plastic? I don't know.
Whoa, that's super big. That's super big.
Ooh, the straw
divisive.
Thing.
Straws and the turtles.
Straw. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, by the way, on the cruise ship, the straws were horrible. They were like candy straws that had a mint flavor. So anytime you're drinking your drink, it's the straw is disintegrating in your mouth because
with flavor.
And it has. Why choose lemon? Why not choose strawberry or something a berry? Why lemon? I digress. Go back to what you were talking about.
That is amazing.
I was very passionate about this horrible straw.
Well, a little over a year ago now, almost a year and a half actually, Mallory and I read this book.
So proud
called
of you.
the Ruth.
Called the Bible.
We read one book. It's
Had
called
no
the
pictures.
It's
It
called
was
The
just
Ruthless
words.
Elimination of Hurry. It's by John Mark Comer, and it was one of those books that just absolutely rocked my world as I'm reading it. Just I go back to it.
What's
often.
the takeaway from that? What's it
So
about?
here's the takeaway. For me, it's in the title, you must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. We just live at this frenetic pace. And as Christians, God doesn't move at the pace that we move. God's not a microwave God. And he talks about this idea. If you look at the life of Jesus, Jesus walked everywhere.
Yeah.
The average
cars were
human
never available
pace
then.
is
The
3
buses.
miles an hour.
Yeah.
And so God's speed, you could argue, is 3 miles an hour. It's slow. It's slowing down. It's just having room for margin in your life. So many. Look at the Gospel of Mark. If you've never read any of the 4 Gospels, read Mark. It's the Jesus highlight reel. It's just miracle after miracle.
That's
after
one
miracle.
of the 4 best gospels.
Yes, one of the 4 best. But almost every miracle is an interruption. Jesus is on his way somewhere, and it's an interruption, and he always had room. He always had margin to be interrupted. Yeah, I'll go there. Yeah, I'll come to your house. Yeah, I'll come talk to you. Just his pace of life was just so cool. But anyways,
And Jesus never got out a cell phone.
Yeah.
I think that's what it goes back to.
To bring it to modern day, he talked about.
Hey, I see your infirmity. Have you seen this reel?
Check out. Watch this.
This
Look at
cat
my
is
streak.
scared of a cucumber.
My streaks are killing right now.
I
Look at
saw a
that.
video this week of like, what if Easter had happened in 2025? What if Jesus had been crucified in 2025? How would the news have spread and been talked about? And it's
I'm
like
sure.
guys sitting on his couch like, oh, Jesus got crucified today. That's a bummer. I really like that guy. And it just kind of moved on. And then he's alive.
Whoa.
Yeah. And anyways.
Amazing though in Revelation how the world will see the return and all of Jesus.
I can't even wrap my head.
Think about like now that totally. At first, when I was a kid, you're like, "How is he going to be? Okay, Holy Spirit can be everywhere. How can Jesus come back and be everywhere?"
Yeah.
And now it's like the entrance of screens in every pocket. It's like the world can see all at the same time.
That's
pretty interesting, right?
It is
Pretty
interesting.
amazing.
Go ahead.
So
Rabbit trails.
modern day terms, what he talked about a lot is we live in what's called the attention economy. I'm sure you've heard that phrase, the attention economy. And he's just talking about how all these applications, all these social media platforms, billions of dollars are being spent to keep our attention. And the average human now, the average American, and I'm not just talking about 20-somethings or teenagers, all ages. The average American is spending 6 to 7 hours per day on their phones.
Oh, that's great.
And that's horrifying. And so...
And when you have kids like your age,
Yes.
mine are older, yours are older.
6 and
but
5.
as you have young ones, you're like, oh, they're going to get raised in this world of, it's all about this right here. And so,
Yeah. And so he challenged Christians, Jesus followers, hey, one of the 10 commandments is remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Observe the Sabbath.
So rest. Take a day of rest.
And one of the ways Mallory and I, in large part as a result of reading this book, have implemented how we rest one day a week is we turn our phones off for 24 hours.
Giddy up.
And I got to be honest, I don't do it every week because it's really hard to commit to. But once I'm a few hours in to my phone being shut off and it's in a drawer, it is the most relaxing 24 hours every week.
Your mind just slows down.
Everything slows down.
Yeah, and it's
when
just
I turn
okay.
it back on, I've missed
it's like
nothing.
bills. When you get a bill in, if you just throw it away,
you just throw it away.
If you don't look at it, you don't know what you're missing, right?
Yeah.
So the mortgage, I'm not going to look at that. It doesn't exist. That's how my wife did bills the first few years of our marriage. Just slide that over. We're not going to worry about that right now. And it doesn't exist. So I started doing the bills. I don't know how that worked. I love you, Kirsten. Love you. I love you. But that's the same way. You don't know what you're missing if you don't have it.
Yeah.
We used to do something called the apple pie. And so dinner time, Jagger and Lila Reese gather around. Kirsten and I, we get dinner there, and the apple pie was we put all of our Apple iPhones in the middle. We make a pie.
Good.
They were to stack on top of each other. and they were going to stay there. And it wasn't like a rule. It was just like, hey, let's put all our phones in the middle for the apple pie.
What a great idea.
And then maybe something to take away with the audience. If you have young kids or older kids, it doesn't matter. At dinner time, maybe for that hour, apple pie those phones, put all the apples or inferior Android device pie, whatever you want to call it. Put them all in the middle and then nobody touch them. And see who the first one to grab it at the end of dinner is or something, right? Don't be the one. Like,
my boys were telling me they do that with their friends. They go out to dinner and they all put their phones in the middle of the table. Yeah. If anybody touches it during the meal, they have to buy the dinner.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
How badly do you need to see that message?
Now we've given it a name. They apple pie it in there,
I like the apple pie. Yeah. So apple pie, that could be good. I got to go back, and 2 words stuck out to me. One, you said when they were away, their phones weren't on, you wondered what they were doing. You wondered. That happens when we turn off a phone. We begin to wonder. And at first it's a panic of, I wonder if something bad, but then you just realize, man, I'm just right here. Yeah. I thought about you the last 2 days. I've been planting trees at my house. Yeah. The whole best day to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best is today. So we're planting a couple and I left my phone inside and I did a bunch of work in the yard for about 4 hours without a phone. And I found myself wondering. And my mind just going 100 different directions instead of going, oh my gosh, I gotta take a breath. I'm gonna look at my phone. It's just like,
yeah.
And just being there. The second one is you said we move at a phonetic pace. I don't, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it again. I think it was supposed to be frantic, but I love phonetic. I have no idea what it means. Frenetic.
You put an R in.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
I think that's a
frenetic?
word.
Frenetic.
I'm feeling the urge to Google it right now on my phone that's in my pocket.
You know what? Wonder.
Let's just not know.
Wonder what it is.
Let's just not know. Let's wonder.
We know answers too quickly.
Frenetic?
Thank you, Skylar.
Frenetic.
Whoa.
I acquiesce and apologize. That's great.
Have you ever found to be more attractive?
Big words confuse me. I'm just saying. Okay, so in the last couple minutes, I want to get real practical. We call it every day's a bonus. So today, what do we do today with what we just talked about? Is it pick a day and turn it off? Is it take an hour? What are some ways we can take this and enjoy today more?
Go for a walk with your husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend and just and leave the phones.
A phone.
But what if somebody needs us, Logan, in the middle of the walk?
And you know what? They'll be okay or they'll die.
What? Wow. And then be with Jesus.
But there's probably nothing you could have done if they're about to die.
Nothing you could have done anyway.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, first of all, if you're ever at dinner, practice. Maybe your baby step is practice. Dinner time, face down, not face up. So if a message comes in, you can peek. Almost a face down. And I'm telling you, it is almost refreshing. You go to any restaurant and you just sit there with your lovely bride or your kids or your entire family, and you look around and there's always at a table, there's always one or two on their phones. And
it's whole family.
Just practice that little art of maybe it's just a meal without it. Just one meal. Maybe it's not a whole day. Maybe it's a meal, but it's just, and the rest. Don't let the anxiety kick in of wondering what's going on. Let the enjoyment of I'm just right here with my family. Don't worry about posting or checking.
I love the apple pie idea because apple phone, apple pie. But I really like, and my takeaway today is just leave it in the car. Go run or leave it at home.
Yep.
Go run some errands. Go do something. Go for a walk, and not even have it. I mean, don't even have it to where you can grab it, which is really cool. So great insights, great piece there. I love the leaving away.
And I never want to slam people with having their phones because it's a culture thing.
Sure.
But it would be like a learned piece. What would it just be like to just rest, sabbatical, right from your phone?
But it's a mental, emotional rest. Kind of like saying, I'm not even going to get near it to be able to just be there. Great piece. Any others?
It's good.
I love it. I love it. I could go 30 more minutes about this.
That is why we come back each week. And that is why this is one of my favorites of just an example of how to make every day a bonus.
Absolutely.
So
That's right.
thanks
Good
for
point.
joining in. We'll see you next week for Logan Weber, full name, Brent Moxey, because he's got it in Kennkington. Just remember that together, every day's a bonus.
See you next
See
time.
you next time.
Deuces.